Hello, my little jam tarts. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me. I welcome you to find something to do while you're listening to this today because it is a housework ramble. And so I'm going to be talking, but I'm also going to be completing some kind of domestic chore. Today, I'm going to be cleaning my makeup brushes because they are looking sad and they need my help. So I'm going to very much enjoy going through and making them all nice and clean again while I talk about today's topic. So yeah, grab that pile of laundry or that paperwork or do that mess on the floor that you've been avoiding, whatever it is you feel like doing to pass the time in a useful and productive way. Today, I want to talk a little bit about some of my emotional responses to the Christian X Witch videos that I've been doing and also the more recent one that I did about Christian preachers. This is sort of water that I'm only just recently wading into, and the comments and the reactions that I've received from talking about these topics and analyzing these videos has been really, really interesting. There's been hundreds of comments, more than I could ever reply to individually, although you might have noticed I do try and reply to as many as I can. But there are certain categories of comment that I'm receiving when I'm analyzing the Christian X Witch stuff and, the Christian preachers that are very biased against us and spreading misinformation. I want to reply today to some of these categories of comments that I'm seeing. I'm not going to be taking any of the comments and putting them up on the screen or anything like that. I'm not going to be calling anybody out today, okay? I just want to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of basically what I've been seeing and give my responses to it and have a chance to sort of like set the record straight with what I think about some of the comments that have been coming up. So yeah, grab whatever it is you want to do and let's clean my makeup brushes and talk about this Christian silliness I've been reporting on. My favorite kind of comment that I receive underneath these Christian X Witch videos and the preacher video that I did, hands down, are the comments that come from people that are recovering from religious trauma or who have fully healed from your religious trauma. Guys, thank you so much for sharing your stories and your experiences. I think it's absolutely incredible how far some of you have come. And, it's never your fault how you were raised or the kind of society and culture that you were raised in. So I never want you to like feel a ton of shame that you used to believe these kinds of things, or that you feel like you might have been roped into these things because like life is complex in that way. Youth is complex and influences and everything like that. But the fact that so many of you have come so far in your recovery from religious trauma, which is a very, very real thing. And I see clients with all kinds of various stages of religious trauma on quite a regular basis. I really want to commend you and thank you for being so forthcoming with your stories and experiences and your feelings as you're watching through these videos. I think it's really just so inspiring to hear from you guys. It really means a lot to me that so many of you say that, it's cathartic for you to watch me give my responses to some of this Christian misinformation and bias. That really means the world to me that I can do anything even slightly cathartic for somebody that has religious trauma, especially religious trauma from evangelical Christianity, which I have seen to be incredibly damaging. And I really do feel like anything that I can do for you guys to help you along on your journeys is amazing. And I just want to commend you. Keep going and keep working through the thoughts and feelings and difficulties that you have to eventually come out, just preferably feeling so healed and so prepared to live life on your terms and have the spirituality that you want to have and that you know to be true in your soul, that you know to be right for you. I also really love the comments I receive from people that say that they literally used to be like the people that are spreading the misinformation and spreading the bias in the videos that I'm analyzing. Lots of people have been super honest about that and said that they used to be this kind of preachy type that would try and get everybody they knew to convert and talk about how they were hellbound and all this kind of thing. And I really feel like that on its own is just like, it's honest in a way that really inspires me. And it's really looking at that change of behavior and that change of attitude and seeing how damaging those previous behaviors were. And how fear-mongering they were, and looking at that and just being like, no, I don't want to be like that anymore. I don't want to talk to people like that anymore. So thank you so much if you have shared one of those stories. I know that it can't have been easy for you to come into my comments section and admit that and say, yeah, I used to be exactly this way. I used to talk to people like this. I used to worry for their mortal souls, immortal souls, and say these kinds of things to them, or pitch up outside places and make people try and convert. I just feel like I want to say thank you for being so vulnerable and putting yourself out there in that way as you're watching these videos. Thank you. And thank you for coming so far in opening up your perspective to other faiths.
I'm proud of you, you know that. I hope you do.
So it probably won't surprise anybody to know that I don't really rock with those comments people leave that say, oh, Christianity is evil and dangerous and it needs to be wiped off the face of the planet. But I do know that a lot of these comments also come from trauma. And so I do try and keep that in mind. Some of the people saying things like that in the comments underneath my videos have been incredibly emotionally damaged by the kinds of Christians that I'm critiquing in the videos. So I do try and be cognizant of that, and I do get that, but I really just don't think anything helpful really can come from people saying that like Christianity as a whole is evil and dangerous and needs to be like eradicated or needs to be on the whole and in general mistrusted. I can't really allow those kinds of comments to go unchecked, guys, and I have checked quite a few of those comments, although to be honest the comments move so fast underneath those videos sometimes I'm sure I haven't gotten to them all. But at the end of the day, spreading misinformation and hate about an entire religion and all of its dedicants really makes us no better than the people that are doing that to us. That's my view on things. There are cool Christians and there are uncool Christians. Yes, Christianity definitely has a bloody history. That is for fucking sure. That is for damn sure. But there are a lot of followers of Christ and a lot of readers of the Bible who do not agree with that history and find that history to be abominable and incredibly regrettable and have no intention of repeating that history again. So I think we need to keep those members of the Christian faith in mind as well, and not go too rogue in the comments, please. I want to be a little bit better than the people I'm criticizing in these videos. I feel like that's the aim that I have for myself, is I want to be a little bit better than the people that are, talking about all witches and the entirety of witchcraft as though it's all the same and painting it with this very, very broad and unhealthy and unhelpful and dangerous brush. I'm not planning on doing that to Christians because I don't want them to do that to me. I think, I want interfaith dialogue and I want chill times with people of different faiths. So yeah, I'm not trying to encourage that shit in my comments, and I don't like it when I see it, to be honest. I had a comment the other day underneath one of these videos and it was from somebody saying, I'm a Christian and my wife's a witch and I think everybody should just chill out. And I was like, perfect. That sets the tone for how I want Christians to be engaging with these videos and how I want witches to be engaging with these videos, to be honest with you. Let's keep it like that. Let's keep that vibe. Let's keep that energy, guys. I seriously can't stand it when people take a very, very small sample of the most whacked out extremist members of any group and then basically make out that those members of that group are indicative of the entire bunch of people. For example, I'm a vegan. I've been a vegan a very, very long time now. Proud vegan, definitely vegan for life. There is a lot of obnoxious and, highly extremist, cruel or misinformed crap in veganism, just like there is a lot of excellent information and excellent activism in veganism. I don't really want people to be taking a sample, a little subsection of the people that seem perhaps the most dangerous or the most misinformed or saying the most ridiculous things and then claiming that those people are just like me, because that isn't the case. They are not just like me. Okay. So yeah, that kind of thing annoys me with any group, not just with Christians. And so I really don't want us to be watching these videos and deciding like, oh yeah, this is what they're all like. And as a result of realizing that Christianity should be eradicated, like, what does that even mean? That sounds really sus. It's really, really lazy, guys. It's lazy to look at these people in these videos who are, in many cases, being very extremist and certainly all spreading misinformation, which is how they end up getting featured in these videos that I'm doing, right? To look at all of them and decide that's it, that's the entire religion, and that's all the people in that religion. That's just really, it's confirmation bias. I don't want to use these things for any kind of confirmation bias. And that's why I always give the caveat that I'm like only critiquing the words of the Christians I'm hearing from in the videos that I'm looking at, not the whole animal. It's never the whole animal. There are lots of commenters that are saying that all Abrahamic religions are untrustworthy, like they're dangerous, they need to go, etc. Listen, I don't think Islam and Judaism actually need any more of that kind of heat right now, guys. I really just don't think we should be talking like that, specifically if we're going to go Abrahamic. If we're going to go Abrahamic, then I really think Rastafarianism, which is also an Abrahamic religion, I've been reliably informed, Islam and Judaism don't need or deserve that kind of heat right now. I think as soon as somebody starts talking like that and putting this really broad brush over all the Abrahamic shit, you sound misinformed, you sound scary, you sound extremist yourself, okay? So just be careful of that. Okay, now I need to talk about the sheer amount of comments I've received that are telling me that I'm a judgmental twat for making these videos, that I should not be making them. It's cruel, it's unfair, I'm attacking these people, and I shouldn't be doing that. Listen, who drew first blood? Who drew first blood, darlings? I'm sorry. Who fucking started attacking who? Who started spreading misinformation and making videos that in some cases have gone really pretty fucking viral, attacking an entire group of people with outrageous amounts of misinformation, cruelty, and dangerous messaging that could lead people to attack people in their own communities, etc. Like, who did that? It wasn't me. I was here minding my own fucking witchy business, okay? I was here just playing with my runes and my crystal ball and talking to my gods. I was not doing this. I was not going on the internet saying Christians do this and that and they're after us and they're sick and they're deviant. And I wasn't doing any of that, okay? I do, however, have a right of reply when people say that about me and mine. I'm afraid it's just one of those things. Like, I'm just responding to what is being put out there. I was minding my own fucking beeswax when I started hearing these things. And yes, I do think it's important that witches are visible and loud where possible, and it is possible for me, in kind of setting the record straight and correcting things, and making sure we have our voice out there too. So yeah, I mean, who drew first blood? That's my fucking question, because it was not me, all right? I did not do that. Let's think about what these people that I've been putting in these videos are saying about us, okay? The TikTok witches, the preachers, all the people that I've featured in these videos. Let's think about the kind of extreme shit that they're saying about us, that we want to harm children, that we want to give children cursed candy that's going to make them sick and make them die, that we are going around putting curses on everybody at a rate of fucking knots, really making us sound very predatory, very fucking unhinged. It's not just the fact that they're saying that we worship demons, which frankly I take as a compliment, so I'm not too bothered about that. It's the literal things that they're trying to convince people that we do that could be really, really dangerous if believed, because they create some kind of insane hysteria, which is then backed up by some of these churches, as we saw in my most recent video about preachers, right? Or like the preachers start it and then the TikTok witches take it and run with it. I don't know how it all goes, but I know it's fucked, and I know that I have a right of reply, and I know that it's very dangerous, and I know that it's not something that I ever want to see happening without some kind of response from sane witches that actually want to correct the record. Some of these people, some of these witches that make these TikToks, which are demonizing us to within an inch of our fucking lives and accusing us of, you know, attacking children and trying to make people sick, etc. They have gone viral, these TikToks. They get a lot more views than I do. Some of the accounts are small and some of them are really big, and they get thousands amounts more views than I do. Okay, so me having my right of reply and saying what I want to say in response, it's really not bringing the house down, guys. Honestly, it's really not like gagging them. They can still make all the shitty little videos they want filled with misinformation, and they will go just about as viral as it's possible for some of them to go. You want me to sit back and do fuck all while I see this? You want me to not say anything? Dost thou know me at all? If you're going to talk the most hideous amount of smack about witches, don't expect us to all sit quietly. You know, really just don't expect that. And I don't think these people do expect that. I actually don't think they do. I don't think they'd be shocked and stunned to see that not only me, but other people online too, other people, witches and non-witches on this platform, are critiquing them. You know, I got the idea of doing this from the Antibot, whose videos I love, and she's a Satanist, and she talks about these things, and I really enjoy a few other people that critique these types of videos too, but the Antibot, I just love the Antibot and her partner Drew. They're so great. And so, yeah, I just decided I'm going to give this a whirl from a witchcraft perspective, you know, from someone who's actually in the craft, and talk about it from that perspective, and specifically talk about what I'm seeing them say about us. I would really like to get into that. I'd really like to explore my opinions in video form. So That's why I decided to do it. There are lots of other people doing it. It's not just me, sweethearts. It's kind of a theme right now. I know a lot of you watch this from other creators, right? You watch this kind of material from other creators. I really enjoy to watch it. So I decided to make some, especially because I think it's really important that witches, where we can, talk about this kind of thing and challenge this kind of thing and critique it. Why not? I don't think they're expecting us not to do that. And I don't think they're going to be utterly pained if they find out that's what I am doing. So it's fine. Don't panic. You know, no one's bullying anyone here. Well, on my end, I'm not bullying. I think some of the things they've said are absolutely despicable, which is why I think my right of reply is completely fucking justified. Oh, these makeup brushes are getting clean as a whistle. Fuck yeah. So I do occasionally get comments from people saying that they don't think I should be joking about worshipping the Christian devil.
So hail Satan and have a lovely afternoon, madam.
Because it just makes Christians think that that's actually what we do, and it doesn't really, you know, buy us any favor in their eyes if we start joking about working with the Christian devil. And I have a lot to say on that. Okay, that's come up a handful of times and I really fucking don't agree. Let me get into why right now, okay? Listen, the joking that I do about working with the Christian devil is exactly that. It's a joke, basically. There are some witches that do work with the Christian devil, but that's by the by. The joking that I do about being in league with the devil is exactly that. It's humor, okay? So the only people that are going to be getting that wrongly are people that don't share my sense of humor or don't have much of a sense of humor, or they don't care that it's humor because it really just does go into their confirmation bias. Like, they already think what they think about me, and me joking about working with Satan is just confirming for them that they know what they think they know about me. Okay, so really it makes no odds if I joke about working with the devil. I'm not here to be a little puppet of politeness and do a little fucking dance of respectability for Christians who are convinced that I worship the Christian devil, whether I say I do or not. I could tell them 100 times until I'm blue in the fucking face that I don't work with the Christian devil. They're not going to believe me. You're never going to get what you want out of this particular brand of Christian, this particular like fundamentalist, biblically literal brand of Christian. If what you want is for them to believe you when you say that you don't work with the devil, they don't believe you. It doesn't matter whether you joke about it or whether you're deadly serious about it. It doesn't matter whether you wear fucking devil horns on your head for a giggle or whether you spend your entire time really trying to prove to these people that you don't work with the devil. They don't fucking believe you, my darling. They don't believe you. So I'd rather have a bit of fun with it, rather than losing sleep and wasting time trying to make sure that any fundamentalist Christian who comes across this really does get a true sense of what my faith is. If they want to learn, if they want to know, there are 800 videos up on my channel to explain. There are countless books and videos on various channels and bookshelves, etc., countless podcasts, all of that, so that they can actually learn if they want to learn. If they don't want to learn, then it doesn't matter what I say about working with the devil. They think I work with the devil, and that's what they're sticking with. So I will continue to joke about fucking dancing with the devil because I'm not here for the respectability politics. I'm not here to fucking nurse fundamentalist Christians into thinking I'm an okay person. I shouldn't need to do that for them to want to cut through their own confirmation bias with research about the truth. And if they do not want to research the truth enough to understand that most witches by far and away don't fucking even believe in the Christian devil, then I don't think any joke I'm going to make about working with the Christian devil is going to make a blind bit of fucking difference. Okay, me refraining from joking about that is not going to make any difference to them. They want to believe we work with the devil, so that's what they're going to believe. They're brainwashed into believing we work with the devil, and so that's what they're going to believe, you know? I don't know how else to explain it to you. I'm not here to be some namby-pamby fucking, you know, humorless bitch just so fundamentalist Christians will give me a fair shake. They're not going to. They're not going to. They don't want to. And if they do want to, like I said, plenty of material, plenty of information everywhere, all right? Plenty of things they can look at, plenty of things they can watch and read. So moving on, darlings, I wanted to talk a little bit about the incredible amount of comments that I receive underneath these videos saying that these people that I'm critiquing are lying about ever having been witches. And actually, some people are saying that they have it on very good authority, that there are many churches that actually pay people a nominal fee to go on their social media accounts and say these specific things that we see come up time and time again. You know, like my life was so terrible when I was a witch and everything was awful, and I felt haunted by demons, and then I found Christ and Christ saved me, and I threw all my witchcraft books in the bin, right? There are people that are saying that they know that witches or ex-witches are not really ex-witches. They're people that are paid by the churches to say these kinds of things, and that none of them actually have done a day's worth of witchcraft in their lives. I do think that it is true that some of these people are straight up lying and they never practiced any witchcraft. And for the record, I think those people are most likely to be the people that say that they are like a second or third generation witch, and, you know, they were really high up in witchcraft, whatever the fuck that means. You know, that makes no sense. They're saying a lot of things that make no sense and that would only impress fundamentalist Christian types that don't understand anything about witchcraft, right? As soon as you are actually a witch, you know that this shit doesn't make sense. So yeah, I feel like it's probably those people that are lying most of all, is the people that have these very boastful claims, you know, these things that they say that you just think, yeah, okay, you're really sort of laying it on thick there. I think that quite a few of the Christian ex-witch videos that I've critiqued so far are definitely genuine. I think these people definitely did practice witchcraft for some length of time or another, perhaps not as long as they're actually claiming that they did, but I definitely think that they have some level of experience in witchcraft and that they probably do believe at least some of what they are saying, although it does seem very hyped up. I don't know whether or not it's the case. I mean, I believe people if they say that's the case, or if they say that they have proof of it, sure. You know, I'm not sure how widespread it is that churches are like paying people to go on social media and say this. They're probably encouraging it, obviously, because they're encouraging testimony. And they're probably encouraging for certain things to be said in the testimony. Don't know about paying, but if anyone's got any information about that that's well sourced or could count as evidence, I think we'd all be very interested in seeing that. But I think some of the things that they're saying they do are things that I do myself or other witches that I know do. But it's linked to this warped perception, isn't it, that that is what was to blame for their issues. So they are actually giving quite decent descriptions of things witches do or witches try or whatever, but they're linking it to this idea that it was to blame for their mental health problems, or it was to blame for them feeling like crap all the time until they stopped. So yeah, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that all these people are lying about having been witches. I think it's very possible to enter witchcraft, do some witchcraft, and then feel wrong about it and go to Christ or go back to Christ. I'm sorry, but I think that is something that happens. At the end of the day, though, my darlings, it wouldn't be a very entertaining video if every single time I critiqued one of these people, I just said, well, they're lying about it. That's what's going on there. They're just lying about it. It's like, well, you know what? I don't believe that. And if I did believe that, if I did believe they were all lying about it, I wouldn't make these kinds of videos, because they'd be terribly dull. They'd be terribly droll if that was all I had to say. I have to take these people on their word, and I feel like I have to critique what it is that they are saying. And they are saying that they were witches and these are the things they got up to. So that's what I'm going to critique, you know? Whether or not they are lying, like I said, sometimes I feel like they are, sometimes not. But I'm not just going to sit there and be like, they're probably lying, because that wouldn't be a fun video. I want to respond to what they say. And sure, some of the stuff they say is preposterous, and I'm going to say so in my response. I want to say something now that I feel like is very, very important for me to say if I'm going to carry on making this kind of content, which I do intend to, okay? I have started making these kinds of videos for myself, talking about it from the witchcraft perspective, because I have seen these kinds of testimonies gaining traction now more and more over the last few years, and it fucking pisses me all the way off. Okay, it makes me angry. The misinformation, the demonizing, the nigh on accusing witches of being predators or being dangerous to society. Sure, it pisses me off. I'm a witch. I'm a witchcraft author. I have been making videos about witchcraft for like over 10 years now. Of course it pisses me off. Naturally it does. And I want my right of reply. Obviously not everybody is in the situation that I'm in. They're not in the position that I'm in where they can really loudly critique this kind of rhetoric, because they're around it all the time. You know, they might have really religious families families that they need to spend time with, or they're in business with, or whatever, or who look after their kids. They might have religious in-laws. They work with people, professionally, that are super religious. They live in super religious places. And so they don't feel like they can be as out and proud about setting the record straight and critiquing some of this absolute fucking nonsense, this BS that these people are spouting. I'm in a safe position. I don't know anybody like this personally. And I'm in a situation where in my part of the world, this kind of shit is nowhere near as prevalent. And it's nowhere near as protected societally when it happens. It is sort of like more broadly critiqued, and it is considered to be more broadly absurd. And so I feel like that's also part of the reason that I want to put myself in the position of critiquing and answering back and setting the record straight, because I can. I think there are lots of people that would like to do this, but they're not actually in a societal position to be able to do it right now. And maybe they also don't have the kind of platform that I do. So, I think it's important that somebody does this shit. Let it be me. Let it be me. Praise Jesus. Praise Jeebus. Now, there is obviously a very clear reason why now would be the time that witches of reason need to speak up and need to make their voices heard where possible and need to fight back against this and try and spread information that is correct at every available avenue, okay? Not to give you guys a jump scare, so I'll warn you in advance that we are now going to hear from one Mr. Donald Trump.
Gather on, grab your cheesy nachos and your fucking vuvuzelas. This is what we've all been waiting for. It's the Queen's fucking speech.
To confront such weaponization and religious persecution, today I'm signing an executive order to make our Attorney General, who's a great person, she's going to be a great Attorney General, Pam Bondi, the head of a task force, brand new, to eradicate anti-Christian bias. About time, right? Anti-Christian bias. Yeah, you never heard of that one before, right? But
no, we haven't really seen this kind of initiative before, Donald. We haven't, because it's fucking stupid, babe. It's fucking stupid. The idea of an initiative against anti-Christian bias in the US is so bloody silly. The Christians are more protected than any other spiritual or religious group. They are the only really truly protected spiritual or religious group, are those that believe in the Abrahamic Christian God. This is a man who has been grotesquely prejudiced against Islam, not only in word, but also in policy. This is a man that has buddied up with and supported right-wing anti-Semitic thugs and people that peddle anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, including his own pet billionaire, Elon fucking Musk. So excuse me if I happen to think that this initiative against anti-Christian bias looks like a slippery slope towards religious tyranny, my loves. Excuse me if I happen to think that. Especially if you think about the way Donald Trump has been favoured by these massive evangelical institutions that are his donors, okay? I think it looks very fucking sketchy that there's now suddenly an anti-Christian bias initiative. And how far is that going to go? What is that going to look like in practice, okay? What is that actually going to be doing, and how is it going to be doing it? I'm very, very sketched out by this. I really am. This is not just a question of like me critiquing a few silly girls on TikTok that are saying various things that I need to put right. This is attached to a much bigger and more politically prevalent danger.
in addition, the task force will work to fully prosecute anti-Christian violence and vandalism in our society and to move heaven and earth to defend the rights of Christians and religious believers nationwide. You've never had that before, but this is a very powerful document I'm signing. You got it now. First time you've had it. If we don't have religious liberty, then we don't have a free country. We probably don't even have a country. But I'm announcing that I will be creating a brand new presidential commission on religious liberty. It's going to be a very big deal, which will work tirelessly to uphold this most fundamental right. It was God that saved me.
No, he was not saved by God. He was not saved by the Christian God, nor does he worship the Christian God. He was saved by the money of the evangelical Christian lobby groups who have spent absolutely fucking millions pushing the evangelical vote in Trump's direction. That's what saved him, not God. It was money that saved him, and it's money that he worships. You know, he worships money and he worships attention. That's what he's getting out of the equation. This has got nothing to do with his love for God. We all know, we have it on record, that he can't actually quote the Bible correctly, as in this clip.
And we're going to protect Christianity. And I can say that. I don't have to be politically correct, or we're going to protect it. You know? And I asked Jerry and I asked some of the folks, because I hear this is a major theme right here, but 2 Corinthians, right? 2 Corinthians 3:17, that's the whole ball game. Where the Spirit of the Lord, right? Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. And here there is Liberty College, but Liberty University, but it is so true.
He can't even tell us what his favorite Bible verses are, as in this clip.
I'm wondering what 1 or 2 of your most favored Bible verses are, and why.
I wouldn't want to get into it, because to me that's very personal. You know, when I talk about the Bible, it's very personal, so I don't want to get into verses. I don't want to get into...
There's no verse that means a lot to you that you think about or cite?
The Bible means a lot to me, but I don't want to get into specifics.
Even to cite a verse that you like?
No, I don't want to do that.
You're an Old Testament guy or a New Testament guy?
Probably equal. I think it's just an incredible... The whole Bible is an incredible... I joke... very much so. They always hold up the Art of the Deal. I say my second favorite book of all time.
So let's just get real, okay? Let's just get fucking really real for a minute, honestly. Please, let's get real. If we're going to do it anywhere, let it be here on my channel. So I'm going to be keeping a very, very close eye on this anti-Christian bias initiative and all this other stuff that I see coming up politically in the States right now. I do think things are hotting up, and I do think that the evangelical lobbies have got a lot of money in Washington right now. There's a lot of money being pumped into this administration, as there was last time. And I think that that really means something about how the needle moves in culture. And I'm sad to say that it's moving in a very reductive, very, very backwards, very Salem-oriented direction. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm genuinely not. And I know that the States is a great big place, and there's lots of different things going on in lots of different parts of it. And I do understand that. But I feel very concerned by the idea of an anti-Christian bias initiative. I think it's some bullshit. I think there needs to be an anti-fucking Islam bias initiative. That's what needs to be going on over there, if anything. And if witches think they can sit this one out and ignore the fact that this is happening because it's not directly something, we're not directly something that they're talking about in their White House press conferences just yet, you're sorely mistaken. You're sorely mistaken. All of the religions that are being ignored and overlooked and ruled over by this anti-Christian bias initiative are in danger. They are in danger of being misconstrued, and they are in danger of being discriminated against by policy that massively favours Christians. And that includes us. That is not just Muslims. That is not just Jews. That is us. It's not just Sikhs, and it's not just Buddhists. It's us. So yes, I will be making more of these videos, and I do think it's a really important thing to, you know, keep checking the temperature with, quite frankly, and I'm happy to do that. And so these have just been some of my thoughts about some of the comments that I've received. Very interesting. I think the good, the bad, and the ugly, to be honest with you, but mostly amazing. Thank you so much for the incredible response to some of these critiques that I've been doing. I really, really enjoy hearing from you guys, and I really enjoy knowing what your point of view is, and especially from where you are in the world and from how you were raised and where you were raised. It's really interesting to see so many different types of people coming together and exploring our thoughts and feelings about what we are seeing and hearing. I am nearly to the end of my makeup brushes. I have 5 left, 5 little ones left, and I have done basically the whole lot. Let me know what you were doing as you listen to this housework ramble. I have so many beautiful fresh brushes now. I could not be more amused by that. I'm very excited to put my makeup on next time. Darlings, if you want to work with me, as always, you know where I am. You can get to my website using the link down in the comments. Come over, grab a reading, have a mentoring session. Sometimes I put workshops on, live 3-hour workshops with playback available. It's all there. Go and see what you would like if you want to start a witchy business. I've got you covered with the business mentoring, or if you just want me to sling cards for you, there are a wealth of different options. So much love, my darlings, and thank you for attending this housework ramble. Blessed be, and ciao for now. Mwah.